this work may not be used to train AI. Imagine you're at the end of a summer blockbuster. The heroes have won, the credits are rolling, and you're waiting for that post-credit scene. But then, buried deep in the endless scroll of names, you see it. An aggressive, all-caps warning that feels less like legal boilerplate and more like a declaration of war. This isn't just a hypothetical. It's happening right now in movies from Universal Pictures like The Bad Guys 2 and Jurassic World Rebirth. Hollywood has drawn a line in the sand, but it might already be too late. The entertainment industry is in the midst of a silent, high-stakes conflict against an enemy it can't see and doesn't fully understand: the insatiable appetite of artificial intelligence. Today, we're pulling back the velvet rope to expose this hidden battle. Are these alarming new warnings the first real defense against AI? Or are they just empty threats in a war Hollywood is destined to lose? We'll uncover the nearly impossible task of proving AI theft, explore the shocking ways studios might be sabotaging their own legal battles, and reveal why some powerful figures in Silicon Valley are actively and gleefully working to topple the Hollywood empire entirely. This is the story of how your favorite movies became the fuel for a technological revolution that could consume its creators. The warnings began appearing quietly, almost like a secret message. Beneath the standard legalese about unauthorized copying, a new, stark command appeared. Not just the simple line, but a more complex one. All rights in this work are reserved for purposes of law in all jurisdictions pertaining to data mining or AI training, including but not limited to Article 4.3 of Directive EU 2019/790. Now, unless you're an entertainment lawyer or a European bureaucrat, that directive number means absolutely nothing. It's an artificial intelligence copyright policy from the European Union, one that has almost no legal standing in the United States, but its inclusion is a deliberate and calculated move. Universal Pictures is sending a clear message to the titans of tech, like ChatGPT, Meta AI, and NVIDIA. These AI engines are in a race to digest the entirety of human creation: books, art, social media posts, and yes, entire film libraries, to feed their machine learning models. The studios are now desperately trying to slam the door to their digital vaults. According to entertainment attorney Darren Tratner, the law on this is completely unsettled. The goal is to eliminate any chance for an AI company to stand before a judge and claim ignorance. They want to be able to say, "We warned you. We put it in all caps at the end of our billion-dollar movie. You can't pretend you didn't know." It's a legal brushback pitch aimed squarely at the head of the burgeoning AI industry. But the core of this entire conflict, the legal battlefield where this war will be won or lost, is a four-word phrase: fair use doctrine. In the United States, this doctrine allows for the limited use of copyrighted material without permission for purposes like criticism, comment, news reporting, and research. AI companies argue that training their models is a form of research, a transformative use that creates something entirely new, and therefore should be protected. And they've already scored a significant, chilling victory. In a recent first-of-its-kind case involving the AI company Anthropic, a court ruled that its chatbot, Claude, could legally train its language model on millions of digitized books under fair use. For Hollywood, this was a thunderclap. If AI can legally learn from books, what's to stop it from legally learning from screenplays, from shot compositions, from every frame of every movie ever made? This ruling has emboldened the tech industry and put the studios on the defensive, making their all-caps warnings feel less like a confident assertion of rights and more like a desperate plea. While Universal is the only major studio putting these warnings directly into its films so far, the rest of the industry is fighting the same war on a different front, deep within the terms of service agreements you agree to without a second thought. Streamers are quietly burying their own machine learning saber rattles in the fine print. Disney Plus, for instance, now includes a clause forbidding you from using their service in connection with the training, benchmarking, or validation of any artificial intelligence or machine learning tool. Paramount Plus and Peacock have similar language. It's a subtle but significant policy shift, an attempt to build a legal fortress around their intellectual property. Insiders compare it to the 1980s when the first camcorders appeared. Suddenly, piracy was a tangible threat, and studios responded by slapping those iconic FBI warnings on every VHS tape. This feels like the modern equivalent, but the threat is infinitely more complex than a grainy handheld recording. This is a fascinating look at how old-world industries are scrambling to adapt to a new, terrifying reality. If you're finding this glimpse behind the curtain of Hollywood's biggest fear compelling, do us a favor and hit that like button. It helps us know you appreciate these deep dives and encourages us to uncover more hidden stories shaping our world. But here's the critical flaw in Hollywood's new strategy, the multi-billion-dollar question that keeps studio executives up at night. Even with all these warnings, how do you actually prove that an AI has stolen from you? According to Dan Neely, the CEO of a tech startup that helps studios protect against unauthorized AI use, it is, in most cases, completely impossible. While it's blatantly illegal for an AI to just duplicate and distribute a copyrighted movie, the process of training is a different beast entirely. It exists in a vast legal gray area. Imagine an AI company wants to build a new animation engine. They could theoretically feed their model every single animated movie ever made, including Universal's The Bad Guys 2. The AI digests it all. The character designs, the comedic timing, the visual aesthetic, the storytelling structure. It learns. But when this new engine starts producing original content, how can Universal prove its movie was a key ingredient in the recipe? The final output might have the feel of their film, an echo of its style, but it's not a direct copy. The training process itself is a black box. As Neely puts it, no one ever sees the underbelly of how that animation is actually made. You can only interrogate the final product, and by then, the creative DNA is so blended and transformed that tracing its lineage back to a single source is a forensic nightmare. And while this battle of titans rages on, let's not forget who's caught in the crossfire: the actual creators, the writers, directors, actors, and animators. For them, this isn't an abstract debate about corporate IP. It's an existential threat to their livelihood and the very concept of authorship. Attorney Darren Tratner, who represents many of these creatives, highlights their deep-seated fear. What happens when an AI can write a screenplay in the style of a celebrated writer, or generate a performance indistinguishable from a famous actor, or create an animation that perfectly mimics a studio's house style, all without hiring a single human being? The warnings in the credits are a studio-level defense, but the individual creator is left feeling vulnerable, their unique voice and years of honed skill reduced to just another data point in a trillion-parameter model. This fight isn't just about protecting past works. It's about ensuring there's a future for human creativity in the first place. And this brings us to what might be Hollywood's most painful, self-inflicted wound. The studios may be shouting, "Do not train," from the rooftops, but for years they've been willingly handing over the keys to the kingdom. Dan Neely points to the one platform that has become the world's largest, most accessible library of media content: YouTube. He says, YouTube contains hundreds of thousands of hours of your content. Studios upload trailers, behind-the-scenes clips, interviews, and entire scenes for marketing purposes. They grant clearance to influencers and reaction channels to use their content, all in the name of promotion. This creates a devastating legal loophole. Picture this scenario. Universal sues a major AI platform for scraping its movies. The platform's lawyers calmly respond, "We didn't take it from your protected servers. We scraped it from public posts on YouTube." So Universal goes after YouTube. YouTube's response? Go talk to the creator who uploaded it. The studio then tracks down the influencer, who says, "Go talk to the studio. They gave me clearance to use the clip." In a shocking twist, the studio is left talking to itself, trapped in a legal circle of its own creation. They unintentionally granted the right for their most valuable assets to be used on the very platforms that are now feeding the machines they so desperately fear. The battle has already escalated beyond warnings and into the courtroom. In what is being seen as a landmark showdown, Walt Disney Company and NBC Universal have teamed up to sue the wildly popular AI image generator Midjourney. The lawsuit is scathing, accusing the service of functioning as a virtual vending machine, generating endless, unauthorized copies of Disney's and Universal's copyrighted works. They claim Midjourney can conjure up images of protected characters from The Simpsons, Star Wars, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, calling the company's methods simple bootlegging. But Midjourney's response reveals the deep cultural divide between Hollywood and Silicon Valley. In a 43-page filing, the company not only claimed it was operating within the boundaries of fair use, but it also cheekily suggested that the studios actually benefit from people using their tools. Then came the ultimate reversal of blame. They dinged Disney and Universal for not effectively policing their own characters, stating that the studios should have just used Midjourney's standard takedown procedure to identify specific infringing images. This clash isn't just happening in California courtrooms, it's a reflection of a global philosophical divide. While the European Union has taken a more aggressive, regulation-heavy approach focused on copyright protection, the United States has charted a very different course. The Trump administration's America's AI Action Plan, for instance, was laser-focused on cementing U.S. dominance and explicitly aimed to remove perceived barriers to AI innovation. In this context, strong copyright protections can be seen as a barrier. So you have this bizarre geopolitical tension. Hollywood is clinging to a European directive for legal protection because its own government seems more interested in unleashing the very technology that threatens its existence. To truly understand the stakes, we have to look beyond the legal arguments. According to Lauren Oliver, the CEO of Incantor AI, a platform that trains its models exclusively on licensed data, this is not just a business dispute. It's an ideological war for the future of creation itself. She says, look, there's a lot of people in Silicon Valley who actually believe and are gleeful about the fact that AI can permanently topple Hollywood. For them, this is about dismantling the old guard, removing the power from the gatekeepers, and ushering in a new, somewhat dystopian era where anyone can create your own movie that's perfectly customizable to you with the push of a button. Oliver states unequivocally that massive AI models from companies like DeepSeek and Google's Gemini would not have AI models if they had not scraped every piece of media available in the world right now. But is this scorched earth, scrape everything approach the only way forward? Lauren Oliver's company suggests there might be another path. Unlike the vast, unstructured data ingestion employed by the giants, Incantor operates on a fundamentally different principle: consent. They train their servers only with licensed data, datasets with known and trackable origins. This means they can track data rights and, crucially, provide royalties back to the creators whose work is being used. They're already working with podcasters and indie distributors, proving that an ethical, license-based AI ecosystem is possible. This presents a stark choice for the future: a Wild West where AI plunders the digital commons without remorse, or a structured system where creators are compensated for their contributions. The very existence of companies like Incantor proves the tech industry's "we have to break things to innovate" mantra might be more of an excuse than a necessity. The battle lines are drawn, and the future of film, art, and intellectual property hangs in the balance. To make sure you don't miss our next investigation into the technologies that are fundamentally reshaping our world, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. It's the best way to stay ahead of the curve on the stories that truly matter. So, where does this leave us? Hollywood is deploying legal warnings that are, for now, largely symbolic. They are fighting a new kind of war with old-world weapons. The real conflict is being waged in courtrooms, in government policy debates between the US and the EU, and in the lines of code that are scraping the internet at this very moment. It's a clash of civilizations, the meticulously controlled, century-old ecosystem of intellectual property versus a disruptive technological force that sees all data as its birthright. The next time you stay through the end credits of a movie, keep an eye out for that all-caps warning. It's no longer just boring legal text. It's a desperate message in a bottle from an empire under siege, adrift in a new digital ocean it can no longer control. The ultimate question is, will anyone read it? before the tide of AI washes everything